Welcome to Red-tastic. Story 1. My 28 male's brother and his wife asked me to babysit their 2 kids, 6 and 4, last weekend because they had to drive out of state for my sister-in-law's grandmother's funeral. I stayed at their house from Friday night through Sunday night. I took care of the kids, fed, bathed, put them to bed, and kept the place in order. Everything seemed fine. When they got back Sunday night, we said our goodbyes and I went home. Monday morning, I got a call from my sister-in-law. She's upset and asking if I ate some of the food from their fridge and pantry. I said yeah, I cooked for myself and fixed some dishes for the kids while I was there. Sister-in-law and brother had prepped the meals for their kids for 2 days. But I still fixed them some fruit bowls and side dishes. She starts getting really annoyed and says their fridge was freshly stocked and now some things are missing. I say, yeah, I cooked, remember? She asked why I didn't bring my own food if I was staying the weekend. I lost my cool at this point and said I didn't want to inconvenience myself, so when I was doing them a favor by babysitting for free, I just made lunch, dinner, and breakfast for myself and the kids, using pretty standard stuff. She said I should have asked first, and that it was inappropriate to go through their pantry without permission. I reminded her that they asked me last minute, and I stayed the whole weekend, so she needs to be more grateful. She said that still doesn't mean I can just take what I want. We ended the call on a tense note. Since then, things have been awkward. My brother hasn't said anything to me, but my mom found out and said sister-in-law is being ridiculous and ungrateful. Now I'm wondering, should I have brought my own groceries? Was it wrong to assume I could eat some of their food while watching their kids all weekend? Update. I texted my brother and told him that I won't be babysitting for free anymore. If they're going to be that stingy over basic groceries while I'm watching their kids for an entire weekend, they can pay someone next time. He left me on red. That's pretty much it. Not expecting anything else at this point. You're not the a-hole, OP. Your sister-in-law is an a-hole for being ungrateful, and your brother-in-law is an a-hole for not apologizing to you on his wife's behalf. You babysat for them for the weekend and she expected you to have brought your groceries? That's absurd. Even if you had brought your groceries, the food in the fridge and pantry would have still been gone because their kids need to eat, right? She sounds like a nightmare, and I'm glad you stood up for yourself. Don't think too much about this. No, you weren't supposed to bring your own food while you babysat for them over the weekend without pay. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for sending an email out with guidelines on visiting our newborn? 3 days ago, my wife and I had our first baby, a boy. Yay us. Neither of our families are super clear on the whole boundaries deal when it comes to newborns. My parents are very old-fashioned and think that letting your kid eat dirt is better than any vaccine. And my wife's just have a tendency to be very me. We held off on visits for the first day. I'm a very anxious new parent, so when we decided that we would have people come and meet our son, I sent an email out to everyone who said they wanted to come visit. I asked that nobody sick come to visit and no children under 18, since schools are a breeding ground for viruses. As well, because my mother is a heavy perfume user, I made a general note asking everyone to either go with light or no fragrance. There were some other things I threw in, asking people to let me know what time they would like to come, keep it between 9 to 5, stay for an hour or less, no gifts since it will be a hassle to bring home, and tried to keep visits to 3 to 4 people at a time. I felt a little overbearing, but my wife read it over and said it sounded fine. Of course, I get a few snippy replies back, like, do you need the last 4 of my socials too? But most people texted me to let me know when they would come around, save for my parents and my in-laws. My parents show up at about noon, while my aunt is already there with her husband and their 2 adult children. I ask my parents to wait outside for a bit so they can finish up their visit without overwhelming my wife and I. But my aunt is polite and decides to cut her time short. Without asking, my mother takes the baby and undoes his swaddle. My parents are mostly pleasant. An hour later, my parents are still there and my in-laws show up, their grandson in tow. My wife tells them that they can't bring him in. The grandson starts to cry and my mother-in-law starts to scold us for forbidding children. So my father pipes up saying that we're being too coddling. Then my mother starts up and tells us that we've been very rude and cold and says that as grandmother, it's her right to visit the baby when she pleases and she shouldn't have to RSVP to her grandson's birth. She calls me impolite for sending out a demanding email like I did and insists that if I regulate my son as strictly as I did his visiting, he will grow up resenting my wife and I. We told them to go, and my mother told me she raised me too well to have me be so rude to my own family. My mother-in-law said that if my wife didn't crack down on me, they would never be visiting again. My wife has changed her tune about the whole thing and thinks I was being too combative. I really don't think I was that wrong in exercising my boundaries, and I think that them not listening is proof it was needed. Am I the a-hole for sending an email out with guidelines on visiting our newborn? You're not the a-hole, OP. You're easing into being a new parent the way you know how. You're trying to let your family see your baby while keeping his safety and your anxiety at bay, which is totally understandable. Your parents and in-laws should understand this too, even if they felt like you were overboard with the email. They should have tried to talk to you from a place of understanding and love, instead of viewing your rules as an attack or a restriction on them. Now for some comments. Technically not the a-hole, it is your kid and your rules. Speaking as a new parent myself, all seems a little over the top. It was my experience that our family helped us out tremendously when my son was born. Still do. Take my advice, you don't want to start drama with people you are going to come to depend on. Try and put yourselves in their shoes. They are over the moon happy and excited. But I understand the anxiety you feel as a brand new parent. Kids are tough. Not the a-hole. Most of this is pretty common sense. Who stays for a long catch-up when brand new recovering mom and baby are still in hospital, which I gather they are based on your post? Unfortunately, refusing to respect boundaries and having a sense of entitlement over the newborn doesn't bode well for your future privacy and your wife's recovery. Please stand your ground. You need to do what is best for you, your wife, and your new babe. Period. Congrats on your son. Not the a-hole. I think one of the rules was a bit much. No kids, yeah, they can be germy, but as long as they're healthy and hands are washed, it's all good. But otherwise, the rest made total sense. You need to worry about your mother's response and hold firm on those boundaries. Grandparents do not just get to do whatever they want, and that needs to be made clear now. Yes, they may have raised children in the past, but standards with everything from sleeping to eating are very different now, from even 10 years ago. People like your mother are the ones who will say, well, it was fine when you were a kid, or you survived fine, and completely ignore your parenting style. Story 3. Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend to choose me or her best friend? My girlfriend, 25 female, and I, 26 male, have been together for 4 years. She's been best friends with her friend, also 25 female, since middle school. Before I came into the picture, they were attached at the hip, and then the BFF got jealous of how often my girlfriend and I were together. For our entire relationship, she's been manipulative of my girlfriend, and not at all understanding, especially when my girlfriend cancels plans with the BFF to hang out with me. She has also said repeatedly that I'm abusive and controlling, even though she exclusively dates guys who are a-holes. It all came to a head tonight when we were all out together. The BFF was going on and on about her new job, and my girlfriend finally interrupted to talk about our vacation instead. The BFF got upset and asked if my girlfriend even knew where she worked because my girlfriend was never around anymore. The BFF started crying in the middle of a bar about how her feelings get hurt when my girlfriend cancels on their plans or doesn't reply to texts. I had enough and asked why she was so obsessed with my girlfriend and our relationship and always needs to lie to get attention, about me being controlling. Then her blowhard boyfriend got involved and threatened me with physical violence. Everyone split up after that, and the BFF texted my girlfriend to try to manipulate her some more by saying sorry. She started the fight and saying she wanted some space for a while. My girlfriend started crying about how much it all upsets her, and after 4 years, I was just kind of tired of it and told her that she needed to choose between me and the BFF. She got upset with me and told me that she couldn't choose between us, and it wasn't fair to ask her to, even though the BFF is always starting drama. Am I the a-hole here, or is the BFF just a psycho? Now for some comments. You're the a-hole. What makes you think you have the right to give your girlfriend an ultimatum because you don't like her best friend? Her best friend is right. When you make plans with someone and then ditch them for your boyfriend even once, that's bad. But over and over again? Is she ditching the plans because maybe you're the manipulator here? You don't seem like a reliable narrator at all. You're the a-hole. It's an a-hole move to cancel on a friend and not respond to text because of you. Nothing about her apologizing or being upset about being clearly a second choice is manipulative. Also, how rude is your girlfriend to constantly cancel plans, interrupt her friend, and not respond to her texts? Unless you're making her do this, she also sounds like an a-hole. You are not a reliable source and sound controlling by trying to make your girlfriend choose. You have no right to do so. You're the a-hole, plus the friend's boyfriend for threatening violence, and a little bit your girlfriend for what seems to be regularly canceling plans with her friend to be with you. But I imagine you're behind that. How is it not a-hole-ish behavior to clearly treat someone as plan B? It's almost an everyone sucks except the friend who sounds like she's miserable. But you really sound like an a-hole the way you talk about her friend and for the choice you gave your girlfriend, and for what I suspect is your behavior that causes your girlfriend to cancel plans with a friend.